I have a good portfolio of work coupled with reasonable work experience alongside achievements and awards. I'm still finding it hard to land a job after completing my master's. I'm an international student on a work visa. Is my visa affecting my job hunt? Do international students have scope in the creative industry in Australia?
That is a very good question, and one that's not too hard for me to answer because it was quite close to my situation 20 years ago when I first arrived in Sydney. And so I had a few years experience in agencies in Europe and in Paris. I had a solid portfolio of work, and I landed in Sydney in late September 2003, and I started having meetings with people, going to various agencies and what have you. And it took a long time, is the reality. So I landed in September, and I actually started my first decent agency job about 12 months later. And in between, I'd done all sorts of other jobs. In fact, my first job in Australia was washing cars on the military road. So I went from being a senior copywriter at Publicis on the Champs-Élysées in Paris, and next thing I was in Australia, I was washing cars on the military road, which was quite a humbling experience. But what I found in the conversations that I was having with different creative directors and agency sort of leaders was they kept sort of asking me, well, are you here to stay? Are you here to stay? And at the time I had a 12-month working holiday visa. And I think there was a kind of question of they thought I was okay. I was pretty good. So my portfolio wasn't a kind of issue, but they needed a sense that I was committed to staying here, because there is a bit of an investment from the employer to kind of get you on board, and then you start working. And if you're then going to leave in 12 months' time, it's quite a difficult decision. But when I was talking with people sort of further down the track, 10 months on, when I'd done a few jobs in different places, I was a bit more of a known quantity. I'd started to meet some more people and just give more of a sense that I was here. It was a longer term commitment. It got easier. So I suppose the answer to the question around, is there scope for international students in the market? 100%, yes. Right now we're suffering probably one of the worst talent shortage I've known in 20 years of working in this business. So we're looking for people the whole way right now. We're looking for 10 different people across all sorts of disciplines. So the jobs are there, the opportunities are there. And the visa shouldn't be an issue. So I think it's persistence and commitment would be the two words. Keep getting out there, meet as many people as possible, so that you become a known quantity. And I suppose anything of asserting your commitment to being here beyond just 6 months or 12 months is what I'd recommend.
Mm. Ash, any other tips for sort of staying positive as you're going through this?
Yeah, well, just recognize that it is hard, looking for work and landing a job, copying the rejection letters, or even worse, not hearing anything back, just kind of leaves us feeling pretty crap about ourselves, about our potential, about our work, especially people don't talk about the vulnerability required in, maybe putting your portfolio out there and then for it to just be met to a resounding no across, different applications. So, be gentle with yourself, because those feelings aren't going to be amazing. But yeah, I guess just have to reiterate what Simon was saying, keep at it, understand and allow yourself to keep in mind that there is opportunity. And sometimes it just takes a bit of hustle to land that really great role.
And the other bit I'd sort of add to it is that, and it didn't feel like it at the time, but in hindsight, the weird and wonderful other work that I did on the road to getting a decent advertising job, in hindsight, it was great experience. I mean, I mean, and ultimately a great story 20 years later. So I did the car washing. I was one of those people on the street trying to get people to sign up for charities for a few weeks, which was really fascinating from a sort of, that actually there from a sales kind of point of view, that sales psychology, I was terrible at it, but that was interesting. Then I worked at Sydney Harbour Kayaks for a while, putting people into kayaks. That was great. Didn't pay very well, but that was fun. I paddled to work with the pelicans in the morning. That was great. And then I got sort of back into advertising, and here I am 20 years later. But I don't in any way regret that kind of weird and wonderful sort of 10-month detour. So I think enjoy the ride, but keep believing. If you're committed and you got it, you'll get it. You will get it.